I'm not giving an option to save it as HTML.
Okay. Well, you are on. So, okay. So, you're in Notepad. Okay. It's okay. This is okay. Just type the file name and just type .html. Technically, you don't need to call it .html. Your browser will open any file and it will try to interpret it as if it were HTML.
So where is this now physically?
This is okay. So this is physically located on your hard drive of your local computer, and your browser skipped a whole bunch of steps. It didn't have to do this because it said open file, so it didn't have to go to a server. It didn't have to send this HTTP request. It didn't. There was no server. So what it did is it actually just went to the file system, just like Microsoft Word would go to the file system to read a Word document. Your browser went. So all it had to do was read the contents of the file and then render it. So right now we're really only dealing with step 4 in all of this.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
It's probably a dumb question, but
No,
so let's say I wanted to put like a follow me on Twitter little bird button on my website. Would there be like a more complicated version of this that I would go in there and?
Yes, and we will do such a thing in just a minute or so.
Okay.
Well, actually, we can use that as an example. Yes. So a couple of different things you want to do. You want to change that here to Unicode. And then just type the file name in here.
Is there a difference between Unicode 16 and 8?
Yes, there's a difference. Yes. So this is a very small digression, but computers don't know letters. All they know is numbers, right? And so every letter in your HTML file, whether it's the angle bracket, the HTML, or the hello world, all of these letters are represented inside of the computers as numbers. So obviously, there needs to be some correspondence between numbers and letters. And when computers first got started, that correspondence was a system called ANSI, which stands for something, something, something. American Numbering System, something. And it was a code developed by people who were building computers here in the United States. And it used 1 byte to represent every character. Now, and I'll promise to keep this short, 1 byte has exactly 256 possible values. So you can imagine that works great when you've got, the alphabet like we do with 25 characters. So you've got 25 lowercase or 26 uppercase. So that's 52. Got a bunch of digits. Got a bunch of extra symbols. Doesn't add up to a lot. You get to like 130 or so. So that's great. If you want to do Chinese characters, you're really in trouble, right? So since the internet is global, people realize that it's a bad idea to have a character encoding that can only encode 128 characters or so. So they developed new encodings, and the global standard that everything is moving towards is something called Unicode. And within Unicode, there are different variants, and the one that is most common is something called UTF-8. So how does this concern you? It only concerns you insofar as if you're going to produce content for the web, you want to make sure that you have whatever word processor you're using set to use UTF-8 as the encoding. And in fact, one of the things we will learn later on is that within the HTML tag, there's the opportunity to tell the browser which encoding something is in. But I'll sort of leave it at that. It's important to note that if you set it to the wrong encoding, it may look fine on your screen, but when it comes back from the server, it somehow looks garbage. And so if that happens to you, it probably has to do with character encoding. All right, let's create a slightly more complicated example, and we'll fix a few little things. So one of the first things you notice is that Firefox up there just says Mozilla Firefox. It doesn't say what this is. So that's the first thing we're going to fix. And the way we're going to fix it is by including a title. And so the way this works is, in our Hello World example here,
you got to go to view source. Right?
No. You go back to your original file. That's important. If you go to view source, you're editing the wrong thing. Go back to your original file that you created, and that's the file I want you to edit. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to give ourselves a lot of white space in here so that we can see what's going on. And you will later on see that that white space doesn't actually show up. It doesn't get rendered. It lets us structure this document as we want. So what we're going to put in here is called a head tag. And again, these come as a pair, so we'll make the pair right away.
Wait, can I ask
Yep.
well, I'm having a problem when I open it. First it opens in Safari, and then I choose open with text edit, but now it's in rich text instead of plain text.
Ah, yes.
So,
yeah, that's always a little tricky. So what you can do, in fact, is use what Susan just said, is go do open sort, do view source from your browser.
okay.
And that'll give you a new version, and it'll be in text edit where you can copy it and paste it into text edit.
Oh, so once you...
Yeah, if you want, text edit is a little dumb that way. Once you've closed it, if you double click, it's trying to be smart, it's trying to be helpful. It thinks that, oh, this person doesn't really want to be writing HTML, they just want to see what it looks like. But no, you actually are trying to write HTML. So, and then we're going to insert here a title tag. So title, my first HTML page.
Does it matter the spaces you're putting in?
No, this is one of the great things. It's completely space agnostic. It will ignore any and all white space. And then save it. And now the great thing is you don't need to exit anything. Just keep that file open. I should have said that earlier. Keep that file open. Just go over to your browser and hit the refresh button.
Wait, don't go to this.
Okay. No panic.
Do you have to save it first?
You have to save it, yes. You have to hit save. So we have to do on the Apple, Command save or Control save on Windows, and then go to your browser.
Is it capital sensitive?
Not for the tags. It's not capital sensitive for the tags. Any other text, it'll render exactly as you type it.
Okay.
For the title tag, you do it in line with what you're...
No, you can, again, these tags, you can rearrange these tags as you please, whatever is visually pleasing for you. So if I wanted to do a certain amount of indentation, so let's say I want to indent this here, and I want to indent that here, and then I want to put that, I put that here. That works just fine. It will ignore, the browser in rendering will ignore all that white space. So now, does everybody have this? Can I switch to the browser?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just save it. I hit Command save. Then I go to the browser and I refresh the page. And now what you will have noticed is that both at the very top of the browser and at the top of the tab, it's using your title. Yes. Who?
This is why he wants me to. This is why we're doing this class, by the way.
Alright.
How
Alright.
to get to that.
Well, hang on. You've got your,
I just went to your browser, where it says it in the browser. I still can't even get close enough to see it, really.
and then
Where's the title tag in this browser?